So Anthony, explain to us the 4 principles of Rogers' theory.
Well, when it comes to Carl Rogers, the first principle of his theory of early childhood education, or just education in general, is one of my favorite ones. Mainly because it involves the students, when they're learning the subject matter, it's being taught to them in a way that it directly relates to their interests and their desires and their strengths as far as learning. One example I can give, and the truth is when it comes to adults, children, we want to learn about things or how things relate to things we're already interested in. So that's a very natural thing. One example I'll give for younger children is a lot of kids love dinosaurs. And we want to be able to relate subtopics or just completely off-topic things to dinosaurs to grasp their attention, to keep their attention span high. So, for example, if we wanted to teach them about earthworms, or any kind of worm, for example, one way of grasping that attention is, because at face value, how does a worm relate to a dinosaur? Well, worms have been on the earth as long as a dinosaur, and giving a student that approach would essentially grasp their attention as compared to, forget about dinosaurs, we're going to learn about worms today. We can teach them that worms were living in the earth during the time of the dinosaurs. For example, sometimes they'll get into the branch of a tree or a plant. A dinosaur comes along, eats the plant, thus eating the worm also. And then from there we can branch out and teach them about the plant that was also around during the time of the dinosaurs. So it's very important to relate all subject matter to the interests and desires of children.
Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds good. It's interesting because what that does is it lets what the child is already wanting to learn about be a part of the educational topic, instead of having the child have to stop thinking about that to think about what the teacher thinks is necessary in the moment. This way the child gets to continue to listen to the teacher and pursue their own interests. The second principle involves this too. Second principle of Rogers is branching off of the child's interests, self-interests, but by adding additional information, adding new perspective. It's sometimes referred to as scaffolding. So for instance, if I see my 2-year-old building structures with blocks, and they have a cylindrical block that they keep putting a flat block onto, and it keeps falling, I can come alongside the student. I'm not going to interfere with what they're doing, but I can show them the characteristics of round and square, and show them what happens when round is stacked on round or square is stacked on square. I can just show him that. I can allow the child then to make the choices if he wants to continue having them fall, which might be his intention, or if he wants to use the new knowledge that he has just gained and see what structures he can make with the flat surfaces on the flat surface. That was Rogers' second principle. And then the third one piggybacks on that. It's when do we introduce new information to a child? And his principle states that the young student will learn at an accelerated rate when their guard is down and they do not feel threatened by the situation. When your student, as you were talking about, wants to learn about dinosaurs, and we continue to allow him to learn different aspects of life through the study of dinosaurs, he's going to feel engaged. When we tell that same child he can no longer learn about dinosaurs because we have to learn about something else, he's going to start having self-doubt, and he's going to start feeling threatened. His ability to then assimilate the new information is going to diminish, and his rate of growth, his rate of learning is going to slow down. And research shows that students who are allowed to lead their learning and to initiate whatever interests them at the time, that accelerated type of learning goes on clear through their teenage years.
So Rogers' fourth principle, also a very interesting one. I want to take the example you used about the blocks, kind of that old Montessori curriculum. It's always very interesting to watch a child engage in that. So the fourth principle talks about self-initiated learning and how the child is ultimately going to gain more from that, especially learn more from that over the long term. Example, if I, as the instructor, take the block and show the child, look, this is how you put it through. Will they get as much out of it as if as I'm going to show them, they put their hands out, as you said off camera, and say, let me try. Studies show, and Rogers was pretty much dead on when he said the child taking it and doing it himself is going to allow the child to ultimately learn the action, learn the subject matter, whatever the case may be, better over the long term. And they're going to retain that information over the longer period of time.
And I think Rogers referred to that as experiential learning.
Mm-hmm.
Very
That's
good.
right. Very good.